Hello. Have you ever wondered how people find the motivation to keep going forward with significant challenges in life? I have often wondered, how do people find the will to keep moving forward when they are in pain, when they're challenged with life circumstances? And I also have a lot of life circumstances that have been super challenging to me. And I will admit that some days are really good and some days are really bad. And yet somehow I find the internal motivation to keep going forward. And I want to be able to share my story with all of you during this YouTube channel journey of what I have had to do in this life to find the tenacity and the courage and the sometimes just the sheer will to keep moving forward. As I share my story, I hope to instill within all of you courage, hope, faith. As I share my story with you, I'm looking at life through the lens of disability and faith in God, and how those two have been woven together in my life. And I'll be very honest with you, sometimes those two topics, faith in God and disability, are juxtaposed. You think, oh, faith in God gives you so much strength and power, and we're going to move forward, and disability can be a really big bummer. Yeah, it can be, but it doesn't have to be. So I've learned to walk in great faith, great courage, and interwoven those two into my life. And I'm hoping that as I do that, you can see the journey I've had to go through. I have lived with a lot of rejection and abandonment and loneliness in my life. I understand what rejection can do to a person's soul. It teaches us to believe that we're not worth something on this planet. The rejection that we experience from whatever source, whatever circumstance, it teaches us that we are less valuable than the person next to us. And I have had to fight, and I mean fight hard, to find my value in this life. I also will tell you, I have lived with profound loneliness, and I'm learning to come out of that loneliness as I hang on to God. And as I share my story with you all, I want to go through the process of how I've grappled out in my faith with God and living with the disability, living in a society that still practices discrimination. I'll tell you that right now. And it's just a process of coming at peace inside my soul that life has challenges. That's a given. Life also has a lot of beautiful things in it. As I wrote my script, I realized I've packed a lot into this video. So if you have any thoughts, a desire to learn more about things in more detail, I am an open book. I don't carry shame anymore for my disability. I used to. In my 30s, I finally had to make a decision. I cannot be like everybody else. I cannot walk as fast as everybody else. I don't think like other people. I look at life differently. I have a perspective that's just different. That's just part of who I am. So now here I am in my 60s. Well, I am 60. I just turned 60 last year. Here I am 60 years old, and I finally have reached the place of peace that I am no longer in competition with anyone for anything. There's enough success for everyone. There's enough love for everyone. There's enough joy for everyone. I live with a diagnosed disability and several invisible disabilities. Every day when I walk out my front door, I prepare myself for discrimination out in the world. I'm not going to say every day is hard. Most of the time, people give me a lot of grace, a lot of patience, and a lot of kindness. But there is still discrimination out there. Some of it is just sheer ignorance. Absolutely. I give them a lot of grace for that. And some people still live in fear. They don't want to be around the disabled. They don't want to be around non-normal people, and it makes them very uncomfortable. And that to me is sad. So I've learned to let go and say that's their problem, not my problem. Okay, now let's start with my diagnosed disability. When I was 16 months old, I was diagnosed with cerebral palsy. I acquired my brain damage, which is also known as a traumatic brain injury. I acquired my brain damage in the birthing process. Sometime in the birth canal, I lost oxygen. Don't know how long. I don't know exactly what was going on. I have no memory of this, of course. All I know is the story that my mom shared with me. My mom was given a very strong epidural, and because of that epidural, her contractions were not as strong as they should have been. And so the nurse had to push me out of my mom, and in that process, I was stuck on the birth canal and therefore caused some brain damage. I also have a couple invisible disabilities. I still get my left and my rights mixed up. I think it's because I'm left-handed, and somehow my brain is wired because I'm left-handed. I still get my left and rights mixed up to this day. I have to think about it. I have to think left, L. I still have to think about it. I'm 60 years old. That's part of that brain issue I still deal with. I also have a mild reading challenge. I was never diagnosed with a learning disability. Okay, but I did go to special reading every day in 3rd grade. And so to this day, when I read, I cannot read fast. I know I'm a slower reader, and I just know that if I have to read things quickly, it's just not going to work. So I've learned to read things one word at a time, and if I don't understand it, I have to read it over again, and again, and again. Sometimes my comprehension doesn't catch up with how fast I'm reading. I find that very strange. One of the highlights of my life is my boyfriend. We have been together for 3 years. I actually met him 7 years ago in a friend's kitchen. We have an interabled relationship. I'm the one with the disability. At least that's what people think when they see us, because I'm the one who has difficulty walking. But Rick has his own story. He's been through cancer twice. He's been through chemo twice. Because of the chemo, his brain does not work as well as it used to. I'm only going by what he tells me. I did not know him before he had cancer. One of the most amazing aspects of our relationship is that when I'm walking down a hill or up a hill or downstairs or upstairs without a handrail, I cannot do it. I'm so afraid of falling because my balance is so compromised. So if I'm in that position of having to go up or down a hill or up and down stairs, I say, Rick, I need help. He doesn't go, well, I'll show up eventually. No, he knows when I need help, I need help. He doesn't play games. He doesn't wait around. It's not a teasing me issue. He shows up right then. I can say I love my life. Some days are really good and some days are still a challenge. Absolutely. But I have learned, especially since May of 2024, to find the beauty even in the challenges, to find the good things even in the struggle. There's always going to be beauty around us, always. Life will always be hard. That's just the way it is. We live on a fallible planet. We live with fallible human beings. Life is hard. There's also beauty to be found, and there are beautiful people who are still out there. For example, yesterday I went to get an MRI at the local hospital, and the lady who came to get me in the wheelchair, because I don't walk long distances right now, and she looked at my coat. She looked at my butterfly I have on my coat. It's a pin I wear on my coat. And she just looked at that butterfly and she said to me, oh, I love that butterfly. That's so pretty. Just have somebody notice a butterfly for them to feel a moment of softness in life. That's what I want to give people. And have people respond to me in such a positive manner is so refreshing and so endearing to me. So now I want to share with you the fun things about my life. I love to travel. I've been to Hawaii 3 times. The first 2 times I went by myself. I loved it. I never felt alone. I never felt afraid. I never was unsafe. I was always with a crowd of tourists. I would say Waikiki is one of the most amazingly safe places to be. I also teach card making classes at a local tea shop. I just started that a month ago of teaching card classes, and I started selling homemade Christmas cards last November. So this is a brand new adventure for me. And one of my favorite things to do in the summer is to go camping. Rick and I go camping. We have 4 camping trips on the calendar for this summer and early fall. Rick has a small camper. Thank goodness we don't have to go in a tent. That would be too hard on me right now. No way. So I'm just thankful for a cute little camper, a small kitchen, a small bathroom, and most of the time we're outdoors anyway, hiking. I hike very slowly, just so you know. And I get a lot of assistance from Rick, so that's a guarantee. I wouldn't do a lot of these hikes by myself. And I have gotten inspiration from 3 specific ladies who have YouTube channels. I think they're just amazingly courageous women to go forward with sharing their lives. The first lady is Raina. Her YouTube channel is called Small Retired Life. She's probably 4 or 5 months into this process. She just shares her thoughts, her daily life activities. I'm going to pause right now because we're going to pick up the cat. The cat has come to visit me. Here is my pretty cat. Okay, say hi to everybody. Say hi to everybody. Come on. This is Callie. She's a calico, and she just needs a lot of attention. So we're going to put her back down. Now, the second lady I watch is Roxanne, and she has a YouTube channel called Reinventing Me at 60. She's probably 4 or 5 months in this process too. So those 2 ladies are my mentors. They're just a few steps ahead of me. They're still trying to figure things out. And so I'm watching them to see how they're doing their presentation, how they edit, how honest they are, how vulnerable they are. I'm like, oh, if they can be that vulnerable, so can I. And my last lady I watch is Chelsea Bear, living with cerebral palsy. She is a person, excuse me, I put the cat down. She is a person with a physical disability, and she talks a lot about living with CP. She talks about all the different issues of living with CP, and she shows her travels she takes around the country. She's a very courageous person. My goal is to post at least 1 video a week, and once I get this editing program figured out, I hope to post 2 videos a week. And I would like this to be a consistent relationship with all of you so that you know I'm showing up. And if I'm going to take a break, I'm going to let you know. Like when we go camping for a week or 2, I won't be posting anything, just to be fair to y'all. My second thought is that I want to bring on friends who have a disability, a visible disability or invisible disabilities, and let them share their story with all of you so you can get a different perspective of life from them. Everybody has a different view of life. Everyone has a different way of accommodating themselves in this life. And there are those who can be really upset and angry, and there are those who have learned to be at peace. And then there are days, like in my life, I have both happen to me. My final thought is that if there's anything else you want to hear about in more detail, I would love to share my story with you in greater detail. So until next time, love to you all.